Good morning, wrestling fans. Welcome to the Pain Clinic for January 10th. It's the 10th of January. Isn't that crazy? And man, Happy New Year. We weren't on before the year change last week, so we're here this week. 10 days into the new year, I want to welcome you to the new year of the Pain Clinic 2026. Birthdays today, oh, I say holidays today, Bittersweet Chocolate Day, Houseplant Appreciation Day, a peculiar People Day. Maybe I may resemble that remark. Birthdays today. Buff Bagwell is 56. And Tamina Snuka is 48 years old today. Happy birthday, both of them. Hey. Handerson Roller Derby, you want to be a skater, officiate Rock City Roller Derby needs you. Contact recruitment at rockderbyrecruitment@gmail.com. And if you're into the men's team, Flower City Fear, they're setting up their whole season of stuff ready to go. So we could definitely use some help. flowercityfear.com, as well as find them on Facebook. We're always looking for volunteers as well. That's why last weekend, Rochester Area Junior Roller Derby had a Winter Wonder Jam in Rochester, New York, and I was busy the entire weekend calling games. In fact, if you go to their Facebook page, you'll see, you'll hear me on most of their games. So welcome to the show today. It is, like I said, it's the first show of the 2026, and joining, I am your humble host, the Cashman. Joining me from parts unknown North Carolina, well, not really, but North Carolina in general. Anyways, we'll be joined by DC Dan Cole in just a second here. DC, got to see DC up here in Rochester during the Christmas break. DC, how is it going?
Great.
I agree, 100%. Yes. Man,
It's great seeing you, Cash.
great seeing you too. Where you get that crazy hair, man?
Just lucky, just lucky, Cash.
Oh, I know that's what some old guy said that to you.
Now, where'd you get a head of hair like that?
Say it grows. It grows.
I mean, down here, I would have expected like, damn hippie, get your hair cut.
well, welcome to the show. I'm glad you made it back safely. Man, just give you an idea of a few things I want to talk about. I want to talk about WWE's Netflix anniversary last weekend. TNA debuting this week on AMC. Drew McIntyre, big win last night. And Andrade. A couple people show up on AEW this week. Andrade once again re-debuting. The first wrestler to go from WWE to AEW, back to WWE, back to AEW. And this was like all within 2 years or less. So we'll talk a little bit about that. And viewer fatigue, which I just is interesting because I want to see what you guys in the chat room think about viewer fatigue, because Bruce Pritchard had done a podcast this week and talked about why WWE only announces 5 matches now on most pay-per-views or events. So, but first off, DC, do you have a great New Year's? I mean, we're 10 days in, but it's like we did not do a show before the end of 2025. So,
I mean, there. I was gonna say, well, the year's off to a rough start, but there's been other years off to a rough start, and just like a day apart. It's got to get better, right, Cash?
it's got to. It's got to. I mean,
Are
gosh,
we just stuck in this endless heatish timeline?
yeah, I think it's unfortunate that be it, but God, I don't know. I mean, we could be invaded by flying saucers and stuff like that, and that maybe that would
At this
fix
point, I
everything.
might welcome it.
Yeah, that could solve the world's problems. So, yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, it was like, yeah, I thought, I don't know, I'm not gonna pass judgment on the year so far, but we're 10 days in, and yeek.
Yeah.
Who wants to leave their house? That's the question. So, but the world.
Thank God there's remote work.
Oh man, yeah. Thank goodness that hope. So we hopefully got 340 some odd days to redeem the beginning of the year, but we had it was very I might as well. I'm going to jump right in right off the bat of it and try to talk about wrestling a little bit. And right off the bat of it, last night on SmackDown, we had the title change off of Cody Rhodes going to Drew McIntyre. Unexpected. I don't know. They're in Germany. They taped it at 2 o'clock. We probably would have known probably about 5 in the afternoon. If I didn't really look at spoilers, I try to avoid them whenever possible. But I don't know why. I mean, besides the fact that, it's kind of like the blow off match for this feud between Drew McIntyre and Cody Rhodes. And it's like Drew McIntyre walks away with the title. I don't know what to think about it. It's like, is there Cody burnout going on? Probably. I think, I mean, does Cody need some time? He just had a baby a couple of months ago.
He looks great for him just having a baby.
I know he did. Yeah, he didn't. That weight's gone real quick, But gee, it's like I think they're trying to, because of this, as stale as they've been in the past year, and how the creative really hasn't been that creative. I think that they're just trying to do something to just mix it up. It's always good with a heel champ, I don't know, man. It's crazy.
There's a couple things with that, and again, I'm an admitted WWE boycotter at this point. I don't watch.
Yep.
Any of their content, but I do keep my ear to the ground still. But kind of like you were indicating, it does sound like there was some Cody fatigue going on. Not only that, but how many times now has like Drew been at a big match and he just loses? So I was kind of happy that, at least they're trying something different. I hate that they can't just let a bad guy win. Like, oh no, he can't win clean. We have to have some, dusty finish.
Yeah.
I hope they let Drew have a run, though. He's been one of their workhorses over the last year. He certainly deserves it. There's other things Cody can do. He doesn't need to be the champion all the time. He's been champion, 23 out of the last 24 months?
Yeah. Yeah, he had that brief time that John Cena wanted to be a heel. And so...
yeah, that worked out great.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you feel that maybe they're creative is trying to, get a little pep?
Saying that WWE has creative is a statement on so.
I just saw
because they're on total autopilot.
Yeah. I just saw a chart showing, how the creative works in WWE. And much like it used to be with McMahon, it stops. Triple H is the last person before it goes on TV. He's that guy. And it's like, so, and it's interesting to see, the structure of the pyramid of power. So I don't know, maybe it's good for them. They also announced last night on SmackDown that they're having 4 matches, that with the winners of those 4 matches will be in a 4-way in the next Saturday night main event. And that winner gets to take on Cody at the champ, Drew McIntyre, at the Royal Rumble. So
God, if it's Cody by then again, geez.
I can't imagine it'd be Cody. He's not involved in any of those. So I think, Cody's getting a little break. And I think also some people have theorized that Triple H is giving him a break because of like just having a busy life and being the champ, and having, a newborn and everything, he's really not getting much home time. So, maybe, he's getting a little bit of a break, and maybe Cody, retakes the title at WrestleMania, or maybe they go in a different direction. I agree about what you said about Drew McIntyre. I thought he should have held the title back when a long time ago, when Roman Reigns had it, when they had the match in Scotland in the castle. I thought that he should have won that title back then, just because he had such, I feel terrible for him, because he's the only time he was champ is when COVID was going on. And he really didn't ever get to go in front of a crowd and defend that title. He lost it at that WrestleMania that they did in the studio there or whatever, in the Full Sail. I can't remember where they were exactly. Maybe it been the training center, or it might have been Full Sail at the time, but with the fake crowds in the background and everything, or it might have been a Thunderdome. I'm trying to remember.
No, wasn't that the WrestleMania where he won it? Because it was supposed to be Roman Reigns versus Goldberg?
Yeah.
Or was it Lesnar?
Yeah, I can't remember. I remember Roman Reigns had to step back a little bit.
Yeah, I remember Roman stepped back and Drew stepped up.
Yeah, so so maybe that was it, but his whole run involved no crowds, and which was terrible. And I'm a fan of Drew McIntyre. I think, he's been through a lot in a career, and I mean, he left and came back. I think he went to TNA, refined his character, and came back, much like a lot of other people seem to do at the time. That's why TNA, I think it makes sense that they have such a tight relationship now with TNA, because that's pretty much where the cast offs of WWE went. And okay, so Ivan, our friend Ivan, who have not seen since we used to go into the studio, he said he won it against Brock in Tampa with no crowds. Yeah, so that's right. And it was like, yeah, I remember that. It was the WrestleMania that was quiet, and it was just
And was that where the Rumble that year took place before COVID lockdown? Was that the one where Drew and Brock had that interaction where like the crowd was 100% behind Drew when he eliminated Brock?
Yep.
Was that the same year?
Yeah, that was, and it was. And, yeah, well, so now Drew gets a run at it as a heel, and it's like, it felt like such a buildup just to this match that was, taking place on SmackDown. And, I mean, like I said, it was in Germany, so it happened at 2 PM here. We didn't get it at 2 PM. But, and by the way, Ivan says, yes, you're correct there. So it wasn't at 2 PM. It was, I mean, we saw 8 o'clock last night, and they went an hour free commercial at the end of the show, which it truly wasn't an hour free commercial, because the last match was still going on when the last hour started, and they broke the commercial twice during it. So, or they pictured it.
I was going to say they do picture in picture.
Yeah, they pictured it with a, so nevertheless, Drew McIntyre is now the champion of WWE, and his next contender, if he's not wrestling anybody else won't be until the Royal Rumble, which, I mean, really, today's the 10th. What is it, like 3 weeks away? I mean, it's really funny how they're downplaying it, because they're not putting out those videos they used to put out where, anybody can show up, and then obviously even people from the United States won't be showing up there. So
did anybody break the walls down on Monday?
No, it did not happen.
Weird.
I did not think it was going to happen. I mean, I don't, as much as, that's another thing I was going to talk about Monday as well, is yes, that did not happen. And we did get a Punk defense against Braun Breaker where he did pin Braun, but lots of interference to a certain point, but it was Punk winning.
Did Braun injure his neck when he landed on his head?
I think that he kind of caught himself with his hands too when he went down on top of his head. So, I mean, yeah, Braun Breaker took it was supposed to be a Frankensteiner off the corner, and
he jumped back a bit, Punk too early.
Yeah, Punk didn't follow when he went down, and
I think that's on Breaker because he started to go back before he had kind of launched his feet up. So he was already in motion and out of position when he went to get Punk.
Yeah, it didn't look like Punk had time to stop. So you're correct there. And so Punk kind of fell off the edge, kind of selling. He didn't want to sell it, so it looked like one of those delayed sells like we've seen in the past. He just kind of fell off the top, which is Punk's a smart wrestler. He definitely did that. But it was that I wasn't surprised at that in the least. You're not going to take it off Punk this quickly. It's at least one thing that the crowd loves. That creative can do stuff with, is having Punk champ, even though he's almost 40 years old. And there's a lot of people critiquing he's not the wrestler he was when he, in 2012, when last time he was champion or whatever. So, but yeah, it was, we had 2 titles changes on Monday. I know this is the 1-year anniversary of Netflix. We had tag team titles going from the Kabuki Warriors to Rhea Ripley and Io Sky. That was the first match on the show. Second match on the show, Maxine Dupree dropped her title to Becky Lynch. And so that's all the title changes we were going to get on the 1-year anniversary of Netflix. It went long too. The show definitely went long, and went long enough that I fell asleep before the end of the Punk match. So it happens, but I can go back and watch it, and I did. But yeah,
did I hear correctly that the Raw / Stranger Things crossover featured nobody from Stranger Things?
There was nothing. It was just
basically Netflix cross branding.
It was just sats. Yeah. I was going to say, in our news, they really tried to get somebody to come from Netflix. It just didn't work out to one of the people. I mean, and then those kids, I'm guessing probably some of them gotta love wrestling,
Dunstan.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about.
Or what was his real name? Gatton?
Yeah, Gatton or Catan or Gatton. Yeah, yeah. I would think he would have. Somebody would have been there, but no. And so that's why I felt it was like a big flop for a crossover. Yes, they had the vines all over everything, and they kept doing these shots outside of the arena with done in the upside down style. So, they did do some of these, set up shots and everything, but had nothing to do. I mean, they had the van, the radio station van on the stage, with their equipment in the back and stuff like that. But it wasn't, they could have, they could have done a Mountain Dew, what was it again? A blackout match or whatever. And, it just didn't matter. But, listen,
Cinnamon Toast Crunch Lumberjack Man.
yeah, something like that. People dumping boxes of cereal on each other. Yeah, it was. That was probably the biggest disappointment of the whole thing. Is I assumed somebody was going to show up from the show. Yeah, Ivan says Cole couldn't get out of the van. Yeah, they were. Cole was, he was into it though. I'll also give him that. You know what? He definitely was into it, but I think that they're dying for Pat McAfee to get back because they're showing a promo for something on SmackDown last night, and the first shot I see is Pat McAfee's head. It's a Royal Rumble coming down the aisle. So, they're hoping that he'll be coming back soon. There's still college football going on, so I'm guessing not. But, yeah, it's kind of like veered into the Raw anniversary show. There's nothing, yeah, I felt bad for it. I wanted to mention one more time when we mentioned that Braun Breaker landed on his head doing a Frankensteiner. And you're right. Not only did he hit it kind of far away, but he also, you don't land the way you land when you hit the ground. He kind of braced himself with his hands. So he kind of landed on his head, but I think he took most of the weight on his hands. But this is the second time that involving a Punk thing where he landed on his head, because he did do the Doomsday device during the War Games match where he landed on his head as well, and that one looked a lot worse. And that one, I think he was out of the match a lot for after that. He was
He's
in the
lucky
back.
he's got a thick freaking neck.
Yeah, he is. I mean, a lot of people, he's getting a lot of credit because he did do a face-to-face promo with Punk and really pretty much held his own, and Punk, of course, obviously, if you saw any of the pictures, came out in a Steiner style jersey, varsity jacket, much like
the Michigan jacket.
Yeah, well, it said Punk in it. Yeah, look, this is the colors of Michigan, that's for sure. But it said Punk on the back, and yeah, so I think they can stick with that for a while. That's good. Those are one things that is good with it, I think. But creative really, I think shaking it up last night with Cody taking, getting the loss and everything. And they're going to be in England on Monday too. And I think it's like a 2 PM or 3 PM Netflix airing. So if you guys are watching Raw next week, it'll be on really early.
I think for WWE, they need to make 2026 the year of establishing the young guys.
Oh, they don't, another thing they've done is brought up so many people in the last couple of weeks. I mean,
now they have to utilize them.
Yeah, they got Obafemi up, Javon Evans. They just had last night. What's her name? Debuted on SmackDown. Girl from TNA, muscular.
Lady Hulk.
Yeah, Lady Hulk there.
Yeah, I know her. I'm drawing a blank on her name.
She actually, I thought she did. Obviously, some of the other youth are getting pushed, but yeah, you're right. They gotta take advantage. It's funny. They're technically calling them up, but like I always say, it's a parallel. It's on a network. It's on, just another day. It's not, they treat it as a minor league, and that's why I think the numbers show up like a minor league. But CW loves NXT, Jordan Grace there. It came to me. Jordan Grace. I got it. Jordan Grace. How could I forget her name? She actually looks more feminine now. She used when she like a year or two ago, not that it wasn't feminine, but she was defined now it's a softer definition. What WWE
was like 0.01 body fat.
Yeah, it's insane. The WWE likes a soft. They love the muscular guys, but they like it. They don't like the detailed rippled, muscles, with the veins popping out. They like the softer look to it. So that's kind of like, and she's gotten a softer look, without a doubt. So, and she did really well last night. She did beat Alba Fry, who is, or no, Alba Fire, isn't it? Who's a huge was a huge wrestler, dominated that, as Wade Barrett said last night, dominated wrestling in Europe for 10 years until joining WWE. So women's wrestling. So it was, but it was a nice debut and everything. And yeah, but there's a lot more to come, I guess. They've got other people coming up, and it makes sense. It makes sense. It was last night. It was an interesting show because it was from Berlin, and 3 stages of hell, or whatever they call it, the match that Drew McIntyre did win. There was interference in it. Okay, the last fall was in a cage. They were tied 1-1, and Jacob Fatu comes out completely dressed head to toe, much like someone else who was interfering in matches a month or two ago, in a black sweatshirt, so, with a hood on, mask on, and everything. And he attacked both of the wrestlers in the ring, in the cage. So it wasn't like he attacked Drew McIntyre first, not letting him out of the cage, but then he went after Cody. And when he was going after Cody, that's when McIntyre got out of the ring. So I don't know who he was really assisting, if anybody, or assisting himself. But Jacob Fatu has been out since October with
Cody ran him over with the car.
Yeah, dental issues. He had dental issues, and I mean, I understand dental issues, and man, they suck. And if you have to have a lot,
coming back with Roman Reigns teeth,
he's gonna have these big white shiners out there. I remember when Roman Reigns. It's like the dog on the dog bone tree, with a big smile on its face. Yeah, no, he is going to he's going to be back, and he's going to be involved in whatever's going on. But I'm guessing with Drew McIntyre winning, maybe he'll be going one-on-one with Cody for a while. But to start, the return,
I could see that being a program that could be good for WrestleMania. I'm going to start fantasy booking, so let's see, Cody and Fatu, WrestleMania. I'm calling my shot for Drew McIntyre will carry the championship into WrestleMania.
Wow.
He will be defending against Joe Hendry.
You say his name and he appears. Yow. Okay, cool. I don't have a problem with that. Joe Hendry, I saw the teaser for TNA this week, which is going to be debuting on AMC this Thursday night, 8:00. And they mentioned Joe Henry's making an appearance. It's like, well, Joe Henry was part of TNA up until a month ago, and now he's quote unquote WWE, and now he's making an appearance in TNA from WWE. But I don't know, there's a fine line there someplace. But it's interesting is before we get into that, because I do want to mention that a little bit, I want to talk about AEW this past week, and you think we just had some debuts and stuff going on in WWE on Monday and on SmackDown as well. But, man, we started the show right off on Wednesday with a surprise appearance by, you might remember him in TNA as Jake something, but now he's Jake Doyle. That's his real name. And he shows up on you find out he's the one who they took out
Jet Speed.
Yeah, Jet Speed. They were the ones who took out Jet Speed.
Nice little pun by Don Callis. They were taken out by someone or something.
Yes, and then but then just now he says we're going to kill people. Apparently, I mean, Don Callis is going bananas.
Is the Don Callis family essentially like this generation's NWO, where everybody's just going to join eventually?
Yeah, I was going to say every bad guy shows up there. But so Jake Doyle does show up in the beginning of AEW this week. AEW. Man, solid match between Shelton Benjamin and John Moxley to start the show. Very solid match. And Mox is like being very he's being very tweenerish by, shaking Shelton Benjamin's hand and raising it up. I noticed, and I tell me if I'm wrong on this or not, but we had Jim Ross coming and making his appearance. And listen, I love Jim Ross, but there's been some terrible things said about him recently. And he was brought in with MVP doing commentary, and There was a lot of discussion back and forth going, and what it was is we talked about it earlier. We talked about in an earlier show that a few people have witnessed Jim Ross being racist to Devon Dudley. And in fact, Devon Dudley, even on his podcast this week, comes out and is more specific about the situation. And
Has
even though,
anybody corroborated any of Devon's stories yet?
well, he mentions about a bunch of people that were there when it happened, including Spike Dudley, Tommy Dreamer, Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman, he said in the newest story, Paul Heyman called out Jim Ross when he didn't acknowledge Devon Dudley in a group of guys when he was shaking hands with everybody, and he just ignored Devon Dudley. And then Paul Heyman said, why? Because he's black. And it was like, so that's a story he tells this week on his podcast. I don't want to ruin it for anybody if you're going to go and listen to it. But yeah, so I think Jim Ross, so they're trying to, clean up his name a little bit, put him out there with MVP and have MVP say some wonderful things about Jim Ross on the mic while they're doing commentary. And it's like, I don't know. Jim Ross, I don't know. I don't know what to think about him because, he's been a friend of the show. He's been on many times. He's had a lot of health problems. They said he was smashed drunk like one of the times that he had done it. And there's no excuse. Hulk Hogan was too, right? So I don't know what to say about that, but it was brought up this week. And it's like, and so I think they went out of their way to have him on with MVP just to show that, he wasn't a racist. I guess I have no idea, but he did talk
I'm not
about
racist. I can do commentary next to MVP.
He talked a lot about signing Shelton Benjamin too. The whole time he's like, well, I'm the one who signed him. I saw him in college, and he was telling, I had to work that stuff in and everything. I just,
Well, when your job is to bring in top tier talent, you kind of have to put any biases aside.
exactly. And, I mean, I think there was a big bias against ECW anyways with WWE when they first came in, because I think that a lot of people didn't like the style of wrestling, including Vince McMahon, I mean, and I don't know. I have no idea what was going on, but I'm sure someday, maybe Jim Ross he's denied everything. Maybe someday it'll dawn on him that maybe he did do something like that, and maybe to explain himself a little bit. If there's any way to explain it, there's no really way to it. You just have to, do what WWE does, just to make him disappear for 10 years and then hope people forget, but, and that didn't even work with Hogan because he never made good with a lot of people when he did disappear. So, but yeah, I saw that. But that, that's. I felt that there was like an emphasis on that at the beginning of the show, and it could just be me reading too much into it. I don't know. I think that they try to, perception is 100. What is it again? I can't remember the line. Something is 100% of reality. Perception is
reality.
Yeah. So I think that's
something along those lines.
And wrestling uses that a lot. But it was a great show this past week. We got a great match at the end of the show, Swerve and Cowboy wrestling, and then we got, of course, the Andrade appearance. We had Jake Doyle and Andrade. And then, so like I mentioned a minute ago, Andrade left WWE, came to AEW, went back to WWE, came back to AEW, and then sat for 2 months because he might have broken his non-compete, and now he's back re-debuting.
Here in New Japan.
Yeah, here in New Japan. He did an independent in the United States as well, I believe, and was seen in a Mexico show. So I mean, I like Andrade. I mean, hopefully they got plans for him this time. I mean, he's part of the Don Callis family. You can get lost very easily when you're in that group. What do you think? I mean, are they trying to make good on what happened 2 months ago when they felt like they made, or after they made, I mean, he was erased completely. No mentions whatsoever. The show after he made that debut. I mean, it was like no one mentioned anything about that. Even Don Callis, he never brought up anything about it. So what did you think?
I mean, obviously there was a sticky non-compete situation where he didn't think he had one, but he had one. And I don't quite know how it happened or what happened, but I feel like he wouldn't have appeared and AEW wouldn't have put him on TV if he had something like concrete in place.
Yeah, I think they had to talk to a lawyer, at least like get some legal papers or something, So,
but I mean, I'm glad it's over because it would have been a shame if he had to sit on the sidelines for a year.
I agree. And I was talking with Rob. Was it last week? We were talking about what does anybody take a chance on him again after that? And it seemed like maybe AEW. So AEW wanted to take a chance on him again. Okay, so I mean, why not? I mean, he's a solid wrestler. We know that. We know he's a solid
Tony
wrestler.
Khan always said they left things on good terms.
And it's like it was someone's. I can't remember who he said it was. Someone's lawyer told him how to get out of the non-compete, and it was a year non-compete, and he found a way to get out of it.
And then was the problem with WWE substance issues?
He had been suspended a couple times, yeah, and it's like,
Well, WWE will turn a blind eye if they like the person enough, i.e., Randy Orton,
Randy Orton, yeah,
Jey Uso.
yeah, oh yeah, yeah, that I mean, and now certain drugs aren't even on their radar anymore. So
They got Finn Balor talking about how he smokes weed during his workout. So
yeah, that's interesting. I thought I found that interesting. That came up this week on Cody's podcast. And they, did you see the picture of them holding weeds in their hand too?
I did not.
I don't know if that was AI generated or not, but they were both standing up holding something in their hands. So, but yeah, I thought that was interesting because Finn Balor talking, on Cody's podcast. It's like all about. They didn't talk about that when they were highlighting podcasts, that's for sure. But talking about how somehow when you smoke weed, what it expands your lung capacity or something changes in your body and allows you to get a deeper workout. So it was very, very odd that it was going on. But I will say that we got, and when I mentioned AEW and Dynamite this week, we got that last match and it went way over time this week. It was almost like a half an hour, I think, past the shutdown time. So they're getting a lot of leeway. Maybe what they're seeing, and you know why they do the overruns is because whatever's on after it doesn't draw as well, and so they can kind of leech off those numbers that AEW is doing.
I thought it was just they wanted to mess up people who DVR things still.
That too. But it's funny as you mentioned that, and it's like my DVR actually went a lot longer. I've set it for 15 minutes past every show now, just because you just never know.
I feel like I used to do an hour just to be safe.
Seriously, this one went definitely over 15 minutes. So it was one other thing about Dynamite this week I want to talk to you before we move to something else was they had the celebration for the Willow winning the TBS title, and they had the cake celebration, and Monet comes out and eats a cake, of course. It seems like it's a logical thing, but she was like still sad because she lost the title. So she came in like a mourning funeral at a funeral or something, with a big hat with a
unhinged Monet incoming.
Yeah. So, and she was completely unhinged and she ended up biting the cake. They're having fun.
Very happy for Willow, but that segment was rough.
Yeah, well, besides the fact that if you watch it, the lights didn't come on for the first minute of it. So they're like talking in the dark in the ring. It's like sometimes, sometimes they got to look at those scripts a little bit closer, but yeah, no, solid show this week. You know what? I think AEW is kind of like being boastful about how their creative's been so much better this past year. And it has. It has been. I don't care if you just wear your WWE blinders and watch WWE, you're not getting you're getting different things with AEW with their creative, way different things than you see with WWE. And it's not, I'm not saying that WWE is completely bad. It's just playing it safe. What they're doing is playing a very safe. They play it very safe. And so if you play it very safe, then sometimes you have to take like little risks and storylines and stuff. And I think the AEW has had a good year in taking risks. I don't know about, stapling things to people, while they're in the middle of a match. I'm not big on that, but, but things like, like blood and guts and things, they're just taking a lot of, and seeing what sticks and what doesn't, and then improve their product that way. WWE plays it safe a lot. So, now they don't have John Cena to lean on for the next year or whatever. But that's the feeling I've been getting. But you've seen the confidence in their TV shows, a lot. You know, they come out and they do things, and gosh darn, they take a lot of risks in the ring, you know. But you know, I wonder what they told. I wonder what they told Ray Phoenix when he came to WWE, that you're not going to like jump out of the ring and break your arm in the middle of a match or something like he did in AEW. But unfortunately, Ray Phoenix is, I think, a guy who's like keeps losing all the time. He lost last night. He lost to Trick Williams. Oh no, was it Trick Williams? Yeah, it was Trick Williams who beat him on in SmackDown, and it was like, and it shows you, you know what? It's not always greener on the other side. You know, the grass isn't always greener, because poor Ray Phoenix has been toiling, and he came in before Penta, right? He did. I think, yeah. So, and unfortunately, he's just toiling right now, and Penta is so over, but Penta unfortunately is still getting over injuries. So, but yeah, just thinking about the difference between the shows and everything. So let's talk a little bit. This week we have a debut of TNA on AMC. This is a huge step for them. This is, I mean, AMC is still cable. Yes, you're not going to get free wrestling, but it's not on Access TV anymore. Last week was their final show on Access TV. They were very respectful to Access TV on their way out, you know, and Access TV was very respectful to let them keep telling people where they're going to be next week. You know, I remember it's not always that way when you're changing networks. WWE knows that from Spike TV, you know, or TNN or whatever it was when they went off of it. You know, that those 3 years of Raw that were, you know, on a different channel for a while. Which is, it's weird remembering that, about how that screwed ECW too, and that's probably what led to their bankruptcy.
I still miss ECW on Sci-Fi.
Oh yeah, that too. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. WWE, the WWE,
The WWE version.
yeah, WWE ECW. That interesting on Sci-Fi. It worked though. It worked. I mean, that's Sci-Fi is as big a station as AMC at times. So, but TNA starts in AMC this week, and we've already got some big announcements. And I think the biggest one to me is AJ Styles is going to be showing up. AJ Styles has refused every opportunity to be, ever since WWE and TNA have had created a joint agreement to work together. He's refused every opportunity to be on TNA, but he's going to be on TNA for this debut on AMC this Thursday, 8 o'clock. So I'm curious about a lot of things. One, it's great to get on a bigger network. It's great to be more, but what will the numbers really be after one episode? Is it going to be down in the NXT area, the AEW area? Or, you know, I mean, NXT has longevity. It's been around longer than either of those brands. So now they're just, you know, they're not on the Discovery Channel or whatever it was that they were on, the Home and Garden Channel. Or TNA has been the vagabond wrestling show that's been kept alive by Destinations. That's what it was, the Destination Channel. I kind of lost the viewing capability of them for a while because of some of the stations they were on. But as soon as they wanted to access, I was able to see it again. So, what do you think about TNA making? I mean, remember TNA used to be really tight with us back when they first started, man. And it's like, there's still a lot of the
Shout
same.
out to Craig Jenkins.
Yeah, Craig Jenkins
And JB.
Jeremy Borash, who now is like Triple H's second lieutenant or something, you know.
I have a feeling JB was doing some script writing on this episode of TNA this week.
Yeah.
WWE had a hand in that face off there.
No, without
was it Kazarian and
yeah.
it,
no, they were taking shots at
Ortiz?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it was not
Santana.
Yeah, Santana, and where they both said, "Well, we suffered through another company," and yeah. That was I watched it. You know, it was it was of course taking shots at AEW, but yeah, that was very WWE ish. But I think, you know, they will debut this week. They've got a lot of things set up on the show to go, and they have AJ Styles coming in. Maybe they will continue. AJ Styles is taking on Gunther on Monday Night Raw this week. That's the setup matches for this week's Raw. Will Gunther show up? They think that now that they have more exposure, maybe bigger stars are going to start from WWE or start showing up on TNA. It's a big question mark. It hasn't happened yet, so we don't know. But I know I'm a huge AJ Styles fan. I mean, obviously he was the heart and soul of TNA for a very, very long time. And when he left and went to New Japan instead of WWE, it was sad because, you know, it was like he was an original. He was on the, you know, very first show, and now he's coming back, and it's something like I said, he wanted to make it something special. It's special. You know, he would not let them put him in the TNA Hall of Fame last year. That could happen this year. I don't know. Maybe the Hall of Fame will disappear now. I'm not really sure, but it's going to be a great show on Thursday. I'm definitely going to be watching it because see what, you know, if anything changes at all. They have a lot of storylines set up already. They've got a pay-per-view coming up next week. Genesis, I believe it is, I think. And they decided to move the main event off Genesis and put it on Thursday on their debut, Impact's debut on AMC with Mike Santana versus Frankie Kazarian. And Frankie Kazarian, who's been on the show before. He and I talked. I remember we talked about working out to freaking Star Wars soundtracks and stuff. But Frankie Kazarian, you know, is TNA through and through, and he left AEW because of lack of opportunity. It's not good to take shots at. I don't think. I mean, because you never know. You got friends there. I mean, Frankie Kazarian's very good friends with Christopher Daniels. AJ Styles is very good friends with Christopher Daniels. You know, it's I don't know. It's a big deal. But AJ Styles was interviewed this week. I saw, and he talked a little bit about the introduction against John Cena that he had back. I can't remember what the pay-per-view was, but where John Cena handed the slip of paper to the announcer and then had to apologize to everybody because it wasn't what originally was on there. There was nothing wrong with that introduction. It did mention TNA amongst other things, but I'm excited. I'm a big AJ Styles fan, and I mean, you know, he maybe Gunther's going. I think Gunther may end his career too, and so they're going to make maybe Gunther the new career killer or something. I don't think.
I had to look it up because I couldn't remember and I wanted to be accurate. Yeah, Frankie Kazarian is an inaugural AEW Tag Team Champion.
Yeah.
Treated so poorly.
Yeah, he wasn't treated poorly. It's just that his last couple of years he was in catering for and I mean, I can understand he has something to give. He always had something to give. He was in great shape. He was always a great wrestler. But yeah, he definitely, you're right. You're right. He was but I think like you said, maybe WWE had some writing in there involved in that last promo or something they wanted to, you know, take shots at. They feel that, I think that WWE feels that TNA can be on the same the same rating or the same be or close to the same rating that AEW does, or what AEW can pull, TNA can pull. But I think TNA has been so out of the average cable viewer for such a long time. It's going to take some time. And Pat's asking what Christopher Daniels is doing now. He's in charge of talent relations with AEW. So Christopher Daniels, he wrestles every once in a while too still. Well, we will see. It's gonna be exciting to have another show on. But boy, one every day of the week, pretty much. You know, if you watch NXT and you watch TNA, it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Then if you have a pay-per-view or you got Collision on Saturday, which we have one today, which will be live.
That's why with so much content now, you know, you were mentioning earlier, you feel like AEW takes a lot of risks. Yeah. It's a crowded market. You have to do something to set yourself apart.
It is. I think a big risk, and it really has paid off well, is the character of Tony Storm. But that's been a couple of years now. But Tony Storm, you never know how that was going to get over when Tony Storm was doing that 40s, movie star thing in the beginning, But it did. It got over big time, and it's still over big time, and it was a great idea. I don't even know how I don't know really how the creative process works in AEW. I read recently that there was I read Tony Khan addressed it this past week on a podcast or something. He said he talked about how it works, but he's like saying that nothing is pitched by. I mean, there's first of all, the one thing they said is there's no there's no the talents don't have creative control over their finishes, and that because a lot of people were claiming Mercedes Monet, that was one of the deals coming in, and that's not the case. He said that there's a group of people, the agents, and they get together and they pitch things, and but I think Tony Khan is much like Triple H in that case, where he like is the final say on a lot of things, whether it should or not. It's got to have legs, I'm guessing, and sometimes things don't. So, but that being said, I think that it was interesting though to hear Tony Khan talk about the creative process, because I've never had no clue of whatever it was, but there's so many quality wrestlers in there that know how the system works, know how, how to pitch something. I mean, Moxley's probably a big guy in that aspect as well. He's been part of one of the most successful trios in the history of wrestling, or at least, I mean, it's still remembered all the time, and it's 10 years dead, so I think that was interesting. But one thing, before we get to the news, I wanted to bring up is, and this is, I think this is, I've been wondering myself why WWE has been doing these 5-card pay-per-views, and they were not going to go any farther than that. And so this week, Bruce Pritchard was on a podcast, his podcast, Something to Wrestle, and he was talking about why they're only announcing 5 matches or 4 matches or 5 matches per pay-per-view, and he says it's called viewer fatigue. He called it viewer fatigue, and it's like if you have like a 10 match card, people forget about what happens earlier on the show at the end of the show. And so they said they want to emphasize more of the stories and within 5 matches on a pay-per-view instead of going, 11, 10, 11. And I thought that was interesting because they are not just saying that. They've been doing this for a while now on their pay-per-views or even their live events. They're not mentioning more maybe than four matches, or 5 matches at the most when they throw up a lineup. And then sometimes it's more than that. They'll like impromptu that and do like an impromptu match or maybe one on the pre-show or something. But what do you find any validity in this viewer fatigue that Bruce Pritchard's talking about? I mean, because obviously we kind of joked. Remember when WrestleMania used to be one day and it was like it would start at 7 and end after 1 or midnight or whatever, and sometimes the fatigue would hit in, when it's that late. So
I can simultaneously agree and disagree with it, because as much as I enjoy, the AEW pay-per-views that they put on, I'm exhausted by the time they're over because there's so much. But if you listen to Tony Khan, he always said, people are paying their hard-earned money to come to these things. He goes, I want them to get their money's worth, which is why I can understand there can be fatigue. But at the same point, using Tony Khan's logic, I'm not paying to go to a WWE show. I'm not, especially with the prices they're asking nowadays, I'm not paying that to see 4 or 5 matches.
Yeah.
Like, you'd have to be crazy.
Yeah. And that's interesting because it's like, and especially if, there's going to be some results that people aren't going to be happy with, and you only have 5 matches, then they're going to be, ticked off leaving,
The Cena show.
Yeah. Big time. That nobody was happy with that. Yeah. Except for John Cena, I guess, cause he was done. They were in Rochester, 2 weeks ago. And I think they had 8 or 9 matches, with a halfway point. And, live show like that. Yes. Because you're going to get a 3-minute squash or something's going to happen in that, but yeah, no, I agree. And it's like, you don't set up for many months as you do all these matches to just have a few, I think, we will see how that goes for them. I mean, that right now is their philosophy and they've been doing it for a while now. So I just find it interesting. It's like, what do you guys think in the chat room, man? Do you get fatigued when there's a 10 card match or a pay-per-view or something. And it's like you start even, like DC, I can never forget the last one we watched with you, that WrestleMania, where that just kept going. And it
Yeah.
started early. It was an early start too. And it just kept going. And it's like, oh, and there's another match. I don't know if I'm going to stay awake.
Here's why I'm skeptical, Cash. I don't believe WWE does anything nowadays with the viewer's best interest in mind.
Yeah, it
I
does.
think I think it's their new business model of charge you more, give you less.
It
And
makes sense.
if people are gonna keep paying, they're gonna keep doing it.
Yeah, I mean, one thing, I mean, there's a lot of people that really had a problem when they moved to ESPN Plus with the pay-per-views, because
Didn't a lawsuit just drop on that too?
yeah, people are suing, yeah. And it's like that I think the smallest fee you can pay is $27 a month, I think, for the ESPN app. Unless like me, I'm lucky. I'm not lucky, but I'm paying for Spectrum still, and I get all these apps added, and that's one of the ones that's kind of shoots off of Disney Plus, and it allows me to watch the WWE events. But and by the way, Pat, I did not go to the show. I really wanted to. I wanted to go and see Cody talk about John Huber, Brody Lee, and I did not, but I know he did. So I was very happy. And I've seen videos of that, as well as Rowan honoring John Huber and when he was in Rochester. So I'm glad that both of those guys did that. But there was but I did not go. But I was gonna say, it's like, it was $72 for a bad seat in Rochester. I wasn't gonna go. I'm sorry, you know. Yeah, but Ivan's like, yeah, and they fill in with video packages now instead, and they do, and they're the king of self promotion, and that's what they do. They tell you the whole storyline leading up to this match, and it's like, well, I remember a lot of it. I remember when video packages were rare, when they would rarely use those, and now it's like they're heavy.
But even now, depending on what service you have, you don't get the video packages, you get commercials.
Yeah, only that too, commercials, or promos for what's going to happen on Monday.
Oh, for people who are paying for the premium, you're going to see a breakdown of the match. Here's how we got here. The rest of you enjoy these commercials.
Yeah, and it's funny is the last one I watched. I was watching Raw and I wasn't getting the commercials in it, even though I don't pay for the high price Netflix for without commercials. And so, but they made a mistake and they weren't showing me the commercials for a show, and I was thrilled because it's like as soon as you could tell like, they were fading down for a commercial, they came back to the announcers and they talked the whole time during the break. So, but yeah. Well, so Pat tells me he doesn't care for WWE pay-per-views with 4 or 5 matches. Pat, you're going to get that for a while, okay? That's
their new business model.
And listen, when you have like pay-per-views, also like say the Royal Rumble or Hell in the Cell or things like that, or even the War Games, you're going to get 2 of those War Game matches. That's going to be an hour each. So it makes sense to do 5 then, because you're going to even the Royal Rumble, you're going to get 2 Royal Rumbles on the Royal Rumble, so you're going to have 3 other matches during the show, but when you have John Cena's last match and there's only 4 matches announced for the Saturday night main event, I mean, the Saturday main event is going to go 2 hours, but some of these pay-per-views only 5 announced, and it's like, and they're done early. And it's like, I mean, it used to be one of my beefs is I would be falling asleep at the end of them, but not now, not with these short pay-per-views, so it's like, we'll see what happens. Maybe that'll change. Maybe, I mean, their philosophy changes, with the way the wind blows. So, something else gives them a different, stat, and they're like, oh, we got to change things. We're losing people. Their creative is losing people. So, and which is the benefit to all the other wrestling in the world right now. So
I would have to imagine, and again, I'm not an insider in the business. I don't know what's what, on the inner workings, but I can't imagine WWE talent is thrilled at the idea that these big events are 4 or 5 matches.
Unless you're CM Punk, because he's going to be
right. Unless you're the guys at the top of the card, but
yeah.
What about all these other guys and girls, fighting for spots? And there's 10 openings?
Hey, when was the last time we seen the Street Profits? When's the last time we seen, any of these guys? It's when they have 3 hours to fill on TV that you're going to see all these guys, and then they disappear when the pay-per-view comes. So, and once again, he does mention AEW not afraid to show blood. WWE doesn't like to, but sometimes it may. get a little older crowd. Maybe AEW gets a little older crowd. I think AEW does get a little older crowd. I think the veteran wrestling fan. I mean, WWE doesn't show the blood, which I don't know. I mean, blood doesn't mean much to me anymore, except for the fact that I'm grossed out if it's like really gratuitous. So
It has its place. It can be a storytelling mechanic in the right spot, or it can be just an unfortunate thing that happens because we've seen, you know, unintentional spots
yes, yes, yeah, and I think WWE had
or
somebody.
any John Moxley match for some
Yeah.
reason.
Well, yeah, he even bled just a little bit against Shelton Benjamin, but I think that was like hard way. So I don't think it was intentional at all. So yeah, I wanted to throw that out and discuss that a little bit because I just think, hopefully we get Sanderson in, Rob Sanderson next week and ask him what he thinks about a 5 card because he doing independent shows. You have 10 matches, 11 matches, and and that's the regular thing. If you've announced 5 matches, can you sell a show? Especially for an independent card. It's some questions we'll have to when he comes on. But let me get into some of the news and then we'll get out of here. Tonight, if you're watching AEW Collision, Mark Briscoe versus Hechicero for the TNT title. Mark Briscoe did cut a promo on Dynamite this past week. We got Commander versus El Clone, who's or El Clone, a clone. He's a clone of Hologram, which just might be Hologram gone evil. Yeah, to me that is. Chris Statlander will.
I'm sorry, that giant C
Yeah,
he came out with, like, it's like something a kid like comes up with.
yeah,
It's like here's my superhero character.
like bad paint shop or whatever. Sorry. uh Wife said she asked him to stop bleeding all over his matches. That's what obviously Renee Burkett asking Moxley. So we got Commander versus El Clone. We got Chris Statlander, Willow Nightingale, and Harley Cameron versus Hyan, Maya World, and Verta Vixen, which they're all kind of new wrestlers there. And that's going to be 8 o'clock. It's going to be live from the Esports Stadium in Arlington. You can catch it on HBO Max as well. 8 o'clock start. Very cool.
Those ladies you mentioned in that match, getting the spots that were, Tegan Knox was too good for.
Yeah, Tegan Knox. Who I don't want to go there anymore. No, seriously. I mean, you're exactly right. Next week on SmackDown from Wembley Arena, we're gonna have You're gonna have 4 bouts that whoever wins of the 4 bouts will go to the Fatal 4-Way Eliminator bout at Saturday night's main event, January 24th at the Bell Center in Montreal. And the winner of that match will take on the WWE champion at the Royal Rumble in Riyadh on January 31st. But the 4 matches are Randy Orton versus The Miz, Matt Cardona versus Trick Williams, Damian Priest versus Solo Sikoa, and Sami Zayn versus Ilya Dragunov. I think it's going to be some solid matches there, especially the Sami Zayn one. Sami Zayn, I have a feeling Sami Zayn's going to go heel because he started off saying in the new year he wants a shot at the heavyweight title. But now that Drew McIntyre is the champion, I guess not. Maybe, I was thinking, I kept thinking, even if Cody was a champ, then you have 2 faces. I guess it doesn't really matter who wins or not, but I have a feeling Sami Zayn's going to be the big winner of this whole thing just because he said that's what he's focusing on for this year. That's what he's shooting for is to be champion. I hope it involves a heel turn, but that's just, but Sami Zayn's because he's done both. He's been on both sides. So I mentioned AJ Styles will be on TNA January 15th, AMC premiere on 8 o'clock. So you want to check that out. They're going to be in the Curtis Colwell Center in Garland, Texas. Got both these wrestling shows going in Texas. Tonight's Collision, this week's AMC Impact, and so cool things. It's fun. We mentioned the Stranger Things crossover. Said on the crossover front, there were internal efforts to have cast members from Stranger Things appear at their recent episode of WWE Raw. However, those plans ultimately did not come together, and the appearance never materialized. And so all we did was get vines all over everything and some, upside down looking high shots of the building. So Tiffany Stratton's been off TV due to an injury. She last competed November 1st when she dropped her championship to Jade Cargill. Uh, Stephanie Vaquer, who got beat up this past week by Rachel Rodriguez when she came out with a boot, which is like, as soon as a wrestler walks into the ring with a boot, I know they're going to get beat up. So Stephanie, she has a legitimate injury though, while the exact severity is unclear. She has been cleared for contact. Obviously, you saw Monday night she got beat up. The injury described as an ankle sprain, and Bakir recently shared photo on her Instagram of the bruised ankle. So, is it hers? Yeah, it could be, but she did come out in a boot and got beat up by Raquel Rodriguez, who stomped on it multiple times. So, if you're going to watch Raw this Monday, it starts at 2 p.m. It's going to be from Dusseldorf, Germany, and the advertised main event is going to be AJ Styles versus Gunther. You don't want to miss that. Oba Femi has officially vacated the NXT Championship. You might have seen that on Tuesday this week. Femi defeated Leon Slater to retain the title during Tuesday's NXT show, and then he placed the belt in the middle of the ring before leaving. And he has actually been called up. You've seen the promos on SmackDown. He should be joining SmackDown very soon. Don't want to miss that. Let's see. Okay, yeah, we mentioned the 2 title changes on Raw. We had Rhea Ripley, Io Sky capturing the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship. Becky Lynch is now your brand new WWE Women's Intercontinental Championship. Yes, she held onto the rope to get the pin, and maybe that'll give Maxine Dupree the rematch, and maybe Maxine will take it back again. I don't know. We will find out.
She's time off for her honeymoon.
That's what some time out. Yeah, she just got married last week, which you see all the pictures online of all the people that were there. Kudos to her. As of last Monday, January 5th, we had a couple releases from AEW, and it truly wasn't released. It just wasn't re-upping their contract. Matt Taven's done, Mercedes Martinez and Alex Abrahantes, who Rob Sanderson always kind of like did not like, but in reality was
love-hate relationship.
Yeah, love-hate relationship. So all those folks are no longer part of AEW anymore. There may be some more as we go on through the year, but hopefully they'll. Martinez, they knew was definitely gone. Maybe, I think Taven's a great wrestler, and we'll see what happens in the future for any of them. WWE wrestler Elton Prince revealed why he's been sidelined since May of 2025. Took a picture on his Instagram of he had underwent neck fusion surgery, and he took a bad landing in the ring back in May and hit his head against the mat. And he said it felt like burning hot electricity exploding through my neck and my arms. That's not a feeling you should feel in the ring. So he ended up having to have neck fusion surgery. Hopefully Elton Prince comes back. Seems like a decent dude. I think he's the one who's married to the announcer for NXT who just had a baby. So, but hopefully he's back soon. Logan Paul just shed the part-timer label. He's announced on his YouTube vlog that he is now a full-time WWE wrestler. He signed a full-time contract. I mean, what does that mean? I mean, they don't do a lot of house shows. So when you're full-time, I mean, it means more like they control you doing interviews, stuff like that. I think you become more of a tool for them when in PR and stuff. So, but I'm glad, he's not bad. He does a good job. He actually does an excellent job for a person who really only learned wrestling in the last couple of years. So, that's about all the news I've got this week. So I want to thank you guys in the chat room. I appreciate it. We will be back next week. DC, thank you. And thank you. I got to see DC and Murph. We got to hang out. Maybe I'll post that picture up on our Facebook page, because we got to hang out, have a little lunch, and watch some football a couple of weeks ago. So that was a lot of fun. It was nice to see you and the wife.
The company was much better than the football.
Yeah, the good doctor. So you guys have a great week. And thank you so much for joining us in the chat room. Dan, thank you, Dan. Thank you, Ivan, Pat, all you guys are in there making comments. I definitely have been reading them the whole show. And I'm sorry that we weren't on last week before the end of the year, but like I said, I was the tournament head announcer for a juniors tournament in Rochester, and that entailed me being there from the beginning of the day to the end of the day, every day. And so that was last Saturday at this time, the first, I was there 8:30 until the last game ended at about 9. So 9 at night. So it was a long day, but I love doing it. I love doing this. I'm still going to keep doing it. Thank you very much. We'll see y'all next week. Same bat time, same bat channel.